path for spiritual living that recognizes the beauty of every spiritual philosophy. It aims at supporting people in their quest for a healthy and prosperous life, a life of significance. Revana Quintana and Osvaldo Mora, leaders of the bilingual ministry Unity Community of Light, are here every Sunday morning to bless you with either an inspiring dialogue and or meditation based on the powerful Unity teachings that we are certain will lead you to a space of deep personal transformation. Please be welcome to Encuentro Espiritual English. We are a gentle voice that expresses itself powerfully through hearts consecrated to God and truth, and that by its commitment to educate spiritually, pray with devotion, and gather in family groups, amplify the powerful light of the Christ presence to the collective, all leading to true abundance. We are Unity Community of Light, a bilingual Unity ministry that offers an online programming in addition to workshops, retreats, and services in person internationally. Our commitment to the transformation of the collective consciousness is our priority. We are here by divine appointment to fulfill this sacred mission, one that we know can only be accomplished through our own transformation. Revana Quintana and Osvaldo Mora and other leaders are fully present to offer you the powerful Unity teachings that will change your life forever. We welcome you from the bottom of our hearts.
Good morning and welcome to Unity Community of Light. I am Tammy Johns and I'm happy to be with you on another leg of this wonderful journey that we are on, the quest. I have with us Mariela, who was with us last week. So I'd like to reintroduce to you Mariela Ortiz Siroquinti. And can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your spiritual journey? In
Sure,
case some
thank you
people
so
missed
much.
it. Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Tammy, for the invitation again. Yes, my name is Mariela Ortiz, and I'm a holistic practitioner. One of my favorite tools is energy healing, and my focus is mainly in connecting people with their spirit, so that they can be able to go through whatever journey they're going through with more confidence and help them with their healing their wounds from their childhood as well, because sometimes that's what gets in the way, really. Not really that they don't know where they're going, but all the pain that they're carrying with them, and they don't have faith, something that will guide them.
Right. A lot of times we can allow our past experiences to dictate our future, and it can also serve as an obstacle to following God's will and putting God first, which is what we're going to talk about today. Last week, we talked about following God's will and hearing God's voice in different ways, whether it's intuition, whether it's through voice and personal experiences. And today we're going to talk about putting God first. And when we do that, let's jump into it. What does it mean? I want to read something. It says, putting God first. It means being true to the presence which made you. It means thinking and acting from your highest level and always being open to God's will as it seeks to unfold itself through you. And I think that's really important because when we align ourselves, our decisions and our feelings and our thoughts, when we align ourselves with God's will for us and we put God first, then everything is going to unfold for our greatest good. So what does it mean when you put God first? There are certain things that can show up for you. It means prioritizing your relationship with God at the ultimate level. And it is really, you can grow spiritually because you are developing that profound connection with God, whether it's through prayer or meditation or reflection. You can do all of that by putting God first. You can get guidance and direction in your life. If you're trying to make decisions on something, if you put God first, it's all going to unfold in a divine way. Prioritizing your values. That can be everything from whether it's compassion or love or empathy or service to others. By putting God first, you'll know what your values are in your life and you can work towards those and live your life accordingly. Also, peace and contentment. When you put God first, you know that God's will is going to, like I said, come and unfold for you, and it can reduce anxiety and stress and letting go of all of the outcomes. Also, relationships. When you put God first for yourself as well as for others, you can enhance your relationship, whether it's creating boundaries, creating healthy relationships with others, whether you're being in spiritual community. We talked a little bit about that last week, how important it is to do your work in groups. When you put God first, you will align yourself with other people who think and feel the same way, and you can grow spiritually. What do you think about that, Mariella?
It's profound. It's to me, it's
Mhm,
very profound.
mhm,
What has helped me a lot is to not personify God.
mm.
Um, I really like the idea of comparing God to the universe. You know how people are calling God the universe now.
Yes,
um,
right.
but to me, it's helpful because if we personify God, we created Him to our image, we limit and we may not understand what God first means because we may think it's like it's worshiping God. That's what God is first, or it's it means church is first or religion is first, and that's not what it means. It's like if you look at the expansiveness of the universe and how much mystery is out there, things that we don't know. So I like to compare God with that because it's like that willingness and the willing to discover, the willing to have a relationship so that you know more about it, have that relationship so that you can discover more. And in that discovery, I mean, isn't the universe abundant and isn't the universe unlimited? And isn't the probability of God the same thing, that there's so much abundance and so much possibilities in that world of God? So when I think of God first, to me, it's like, so what's available then? That's what it means, is discovering what's available. And don't we know already that God is looking out for us? He wants the best for us. So
Right.
imagine going into that journey, getting in that journey and deciding, I want to explore all those possibilities, what I can have, what my family can have, what my community can have. So saying yes to receiving, giving yourself permission to receive more, to have more, because the guidance is there. Otherwise,
Mhm.
why did we talk about the voice of God and the willingness of God if it's not to receive more and have more permission and have a good relationship where we're being guided as opposed to limited?
Yes, and I love that. And I also, and I meant to say this at the beginning, a lot of people can there are so many names for God that people have, whether it's the universe, whether it's a higher power, whether it's the divine. So when we talk about God, that is your personal experience and whatever it is you want to call God. So I'm glad you pointed that out. And it is, we just have to follow God's will and by putting God first. Because if we're taking time to listen, but we're not putting that voice first, then
Mhm.
you're right. It doesn't really serve us to our greatest good.
Mhm.
Now, sometimes, and it's not always easy. I'm sorry, were you going to say something, Mariella?
No, no.
Okay. And so it's not always easy to do. We can have blocks along the way that keep us from putting God first. So what are some of those blocks? First of all, it's important to do that self-reflection. You talked about that a little bit earlier. Like, do I really have blocks to putting God first? And if so, what are those? And identifying triggers. Are there people or habits or situations that you find yourself in that block you from putting God first? Also, prayer and meditation. We talk about that a lot on this journey. Are you engaged in regular prayer and meditation? Because that creates that connection to the universe and to God and to the divine. Are you studying sacred texts? It could be the scriptures, it could be A Course in Miracles, it could be the Bible, the Quran, whatever you might be studying. It can be all of those things that align with you to keep God always at the forefront of your mind. And seek support from community, from spiritual leaders to make sure you are still on that path. Practice gratitude. We've talked about that before. And so I have a gratitude box. And what I do is I take little notes of things that I'm grateful for in my life. And Tanya mentioned this in one of our sessions last week, where we talked about gratitude. And then when you're feeling negative or when you're feeling blocked, you can pull that out and you can talk about, this is what I'm grateful for. Another thing is to be patient with yourself because we make mistakes. We're human. We get off the path. Don't beat ourselves up, but just take action to put yourself back on the path and stay persistent with whatever it is that keeps you in that connection with God, to putting God first. What are your thoughts?
Definitely, you're talking about a person who is very invested in not only their
Mm,
spiritual life, but also in their regular life. Because the spiritual life is not just to worship some kind of, made up God that we thought this is our idea of God. It's really like to bring something from that place. You can't talk about God without talking about the kingdom, what the kingdom offers.
mhm,
And to know that that's available. And not just that, but it comes with the love. It comes with the peace. It comes
mm,
with all that joy that is fulfilling inside of you. Why wouldn't you say no to that? Why would you stay with your own ways or with the ways of your parents or your ways of your community when more is always available and from a bigger place, a bigger area? To me, it's like, you put God first and you follow the will of God and you listen to the word of God to bring heaven to earth, to make it tangible for others, for yourself and for others, to know that all that is real and that is available. And all that you have to have really is the willingness to go into this journey and to make it a relationship. We talked about journaling, we talk about meditation, we talk about, going within, we talk about being in community, having these conversations, but keeping it active. It's very helpful, I find.
It is very helpful. And it is, when you talk about this whole path and just staying connected, that's really so important. Because and also, we sometimes we can live in the confines of our own mind. And you talk about the expansiveness of God. When we don't limit ourselves, we if we don't do our own if we don't get caught up in our own thinking, then God can make our universe and our world so much greater when we put God first. Because we can be self-limiting, but God has the entire view. God has the perspective and the angle. I think you called it. God looks at all things, and God looks at not only what is in our greatest good, but the people around us. And that is really important when we put God first.
Definitely. I see that. I mean, you become, it was something beautiful that once I heard is like, you're blessed to become a blessing to others as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I know for myself, it's really important for me to do that on my journey. I find myself maybe, coming into a spiritual transition for myself. I'm about to graduate from interfaith to be an ordained interfaith minister as well.
Mhm.
And so I don't know what that's going to unfold for me. And I know that if I put God first in my life, I know that the greatest good is going to unfold for me. And like I said, it may not be easy. It may be out of my comfort zone, but I know that when I put God first through my prayer, through my meditation, through self reflection, am I getting rid of any blocks that keep me from putting God first? Identifying any people or surroundings or events or anything, then I know that I can really commune with God, because I really like to use that word commune with God and just be one with the universe. I don't know if you have any personal experience around that or any examples that you want to share as well.
Yes, this is one of the reasons I do what I do in my holistic practice, because most
Hmm.
people inside of us, I'm sorry, the animal inside of us, that instinctual part in us, it's here to protect us, but it protects us in a more primitive way. So all
Mm.
the bad experiences and all the difficult experiences that you had in the past, they still within you. You still have shields that you may not know. But when you connect with God, when you have that dialogue, when you have that relationship, when you have that journaling, you get to bring that wounded person through the journey to get to see the other side, how you're safe on the other side, how you're safe in the journey, how you're provided for, how there's more people that are coming to you to help you, to give you more, to provide for you, to be your guide, to be your friend. So it's that journey, the reason why we put God first, so that the things that happened to us in the past don't pull us back into a life that doesn't provide to us anymore. I mean, this is the reason why we move and we change our lives and we take that challenge. It's like you said, it may be difficult, but it could be difficult because we still hold on to those fears in the past. And when we put God first,
Mm.
we can look forward as opposed to look backwards.
Absolutely. I love how you talk about the animal instinct and our primitive behaviors and our instincts around that, and how that can shape our path. Can you say a little more about that and your work around that?
Yes. So people sometimes confuse instinct with intuition. And instinct,
Mhm.
it's that animal part in us. If you look at an animal, what is that they do? They either, when they see danger, they either hide, or they know that they have to fight it, or that they know they have to run away. So right, that's our reaction as well, because we're part animal. We have that instinct in us. But when an animal see a prey, that's an opportunity. They wait for the right moment to catch the prey. We are the same way as well. When we see an opportunity, we either jump on the opportunity, or we leave it
Mhm.
because we don't feel safe. But that's the instinct. The instinct guides you to make sure that you're safe, and you make sure that you take what's yours. Take the opportunity, the food that you eat, make sure that you have the shelter and food. That's instinctual. But the intuition guides you. It's that voice of God. It guides you. It doesn't tell you just there's danger. It tells you how to get out of that danger. It doesn't tell you there's an opportunity. It tells you these are the steps to take to make sure you're successful with that opportunity. When you match the two of them together, then then you're really grounded in the earth, but with the help of the divine. You're walking in those two worlds in here. And it becomes, when I see my clients, it's like they know why they're being fearful. It's not longer as like the future is dangerous. It's like, oh yeah, I'm being held back because yes, these wounds that happened in the past are still active. So when my animal inside of you wants to protect me, thinks that the future is also dangerous because it's unseen. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's going to happen. Every step you take, the path unfolds, but it's not a giving. They don't tell you you're going to receive this. So to the animal inside of you, it's like, well, I'm not being promised anything. I cannot touch anything. I cannot see anything. So what assures me that I'm not in danger? So it's going to hold you back. It's going to hold you back. So you, as the conscious person, as the person having the willingness, right? Your free will, you have the free will. You're the one who has to pick up that animal and say, like, I'm being guided this way. The voice of God says, I'm going this way. The will of God says, I'm going this way. I'm putting God first. So with your fears, with all your hesitation, I'm taking you there because I already know how it feels like to be guided by God, by, my intuition. So sometimes you have to feel the fear and do it anyway. And it's good because when you do that and you cross that threshold, then you let the animals see, I wasn't in danger. This is all good. We're both receiving. Everybody's receiving now. We're all getting the rewards from crossing this threshold, from having this breakthrough.
Right. I love the distinction between instinct versus intuition, because a lot of times we follow our instincts. That's just our primitive way of being. And so it is really powerful that you bring up those kinds of analogies and protecting that animal. And a lot of people do inner child work. It's doing that same thing as well as protecting that animal within you and that inner child from going off on a path that is not meant for you. So it is really important for us to make sure that we put God first in our lives. Do you have any final thoughts on putting God first? This has been a great dialogue as usual. I really enjoy it.
Well, I thank you. And it's, I'm always glad to come here. Like I said, I can talk about this all day long. All day long. It's been my experience as well. And, if I can make a confession, when I was little, I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in God because I didn't see it. It wasn't tangible. So I grew up thinking, actually not caring that God was real or not, because if I didn't see it and I'm going about my day, then it's okay. But then, my life turned upside down and I started meditating and everything, I took everything, sometimes that happens, when a tragedy happens, that's when you realize, oh my God, what am I going to do? And that's what happened to me. And I started meditating. And from meditation, I started feeling this connection that Buddhist monks couldn't really explain to me fully. But then the metaphysical world was able to explain to me the connection, how we are all connected, how we have guidance, inner guidance. So I was able to, I was lucky that the spiritual community here in Raleigh especially has been very talented and very welcoming. And between all the teachings that I have learned and all the practices that I took personally, like I really, the journaling, the meditation, everything has served me to really make it solid for me. So I know that if I can do it, not believing, going through a tragedy and then coming out on the other side, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And it's the path that is available for everyone, as long as they're willing to just discover life in a different way. And to, I was just talking to my client and she says now, it's like, I feel the presence every day. I feel the presence. Now I notice, and there's a difference.
It is. It's noticing those things. Absolutely. When you notice the presence.
It is so available for everyone.
it is available to all of us. And I would encourage all of you to think about and what your path looks like, and what is that presence? What does God feel like in your life, so that you can know when you are putting God first. And again, I would encourage also for you to continue to journal. We've talked about that. And surrounding yourself around people who are like-minded, because then you can know what that feels like for you and what it looks like for other people, and you can be in dialogue. That's what this whole thing is about, us being in spiritual dialogue on this quest. So if you have received anything from today and anything on this journey, and you would like to donate, I would encourage you to do so at unitycoml.org and just click the donate button. Mariella, I want to thank you for such a wonderful conversation that we had today on putting God first. And let us close with prayer. Dear God of many names, I decide right now to place you first in my life. I am filled with your presence. I release all concerns. O God of my being, live your life through me. I stand ready to do your will and to place you first in my life. And so it is. Amen, Amen, and Ashe. Thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Unity COML, Unity Comunidad de Luz, Community of Light. It's a ministry of love, big commitment to help everyone who's ready explore principles of truth that can really bring healing, prosperity, and all the good that God always has in store for each one of us. If you feel truly in your heart that we are serving you, and that you feel that you are expanding in every way and would love to give back and make sure that others are benefited just as well, we highly encourage you to donate. Do a love offering based on the love, appreciation, gratitude, and joy that you are receiving from the source to transform your life. Visit us at unitycoml.org and do what is yours to do from that place that knows that there is abundance for all.
As always say, asking is giving, and that's how we support our ministry, your needs, our help, and everything goes together.
Divine love, through you, through us, blesses and multiplies all that we are, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. And so it is.
So it is.
Amen.